All right, I think we're recording now. Hey everyone, welcome to another video. I have Rohan here with me. Rohan, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're doing, what you were doing before applying to the US, and where are you from?
Right. So, hey everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Parth a lot. I've been following his channel since the preliminary stages of my application process, and I'm really not saying this, out of any compulsion. I'm genuinely been following this guy. So I am a graduate student at University of California, Los Angeles, in the computer science department. I'm from Jamshedpur, Jharkhand, and prior to applying, I'm pursued my undergrad in IT at Vellore Institute of Technology, Vellore. Um, so basically, been adjusting to the new normal ever since. I had the virtual convocation and stuff like that. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, that must be a bubble, man. I'm sorry for that because meeting all the friends in your convocation is like a thing you
yeah.
did all together,
Mhm.
and it is
Definitely,
definitely.
all the rituals were kind of spoiled, and we still tried to make it as much with as much enthusiasm as we could. But like my father brought a an entire projector at home so that we could view all
Oh,
the
nice.
screen and stuff like that. And we all dressed, of course, we all dressed up nice, and I had that gown and the cap, so graduation cap, and yeah, all of that.
Right. That's good. Tell us why you chose the US and what are the universities you applied for.
Right. So apart from the more obvious reasons from the US and specifically California, being a computer science graduate, so I was fortunate enough to have traveled to the States before. I have my uncle who stays in Washington. So basically, I feel when I went there during after the first year of my undergrad or summer vacation, basically, it was just like, tourist purposes and just went to have fun, basically. It had been a long time, didn't met them. And so when I went there, I basically, got a kind of this interaction with him, and he luckily is in the same field, right? So he's a graduate from University of Pennsylvania in
Nice.
CS.
Uh-huh.
So he's of course not exactly in the same field right now, but he has, of course, he has enough experience to kind of make me understand the situation that prevails. And of course, after consulting a lot with people, even in the Europe, I have some contacts. I was fortunate enough to have these people, and of course I approached them and I tried to talk to them about what's the the job scenario and what's it like for people in this field. So after consulting with these people, I finally came to the conclusion of choosing US. uh, and of course, the process was tedious. The process in the beginning was really tedious, from GRE and getting the LORs and stuff. But I feel just gradually with the process, you try to get accustomed to it, and so did I tried to just keep this one goal in mind, that okay, you have this, you need to be there, and you try to work on it. So that is how my so my journey from applications, basically I applied to, if I remember, 7 universities. uh, so I applied to University UCLA, applied to Georgia Tech, I applied to University of Washington Seattle.
Uh-huh.
Then some moderate ones were University of California, Irvine, and Amherst. And then the safe ones had Arizona State and George Mason. So these were my universities, out of which I got admits from UCLA, ASU, UC Irvine, George Mason, and UMass Amherst. That was like a conditional sort of a thing. Basically, I applied to the CS, to computer science department, but I ended up getting like IoT instead, since like they had ran out of seats. So
Seems.
they were kind enough to even then extend. So yeah, this
I
was
was Like, are you happy with your decision with USCLA, or was there another university you were really looking for, or was this your dream university?
Well, okay, so certainly it was my dream university. I would not lie here. I mean, I've been even like, we kind of don't see this, but in general, as Indians, we are wearing these, t-shirts and hoodies and stuff which have, like LA and California written on. It's so off, right?
It is,
So of
yeah.
course, it's completely off the point. Of course, that is not motivation, but you see that, and this thing gets kind of ingrained in your mind that okay, this place must be good. And that was at a very tender age. This is after that I started researching about the universities, of course. And once I got the admits, so my main concern was perhaps only the location. My main concern actually was vicinity to Northern California, which is Silicon Valley.
Right.
So I compared basically UCLA and UC Irvine, and then after consulting with the same set of people, who I consulted earlier. So one of like few of them are in academia and some of them are in industry. So they all suggested me stuff like, okay, so you need to consider finances as well. You need to consider course structure. Course structure is really important. So after comparing all of that stuff, I was pretty happy with UCLA. There was a
Right.
bit discussion, but after that,
Like, it is a little expensive, isn't it?
Oh yeah, certainly it is. Definitely. So I'm coming from a really humble background, right? So finances were a real big, and if you look at the university list, all of them are public universities.
Right.
I, I did not apply to any private ones, and I mean I know there are people out there who feel that that's certainly right in assuming that there are a lot of scholarships that exist. There's a lot of funding that exists, but even then there is something which I feel that is there about getting the least amount of money for a loan for a student debt. And I feel that really plays a role in your studies and even just your peace of mind, which I think is really really integral at this point of time.
Yeah, 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 definitely with the whole COVID thing. How's your profile
Yeah,
like? How's your profile like? Your GRE, GPA, uh,
right.
all of those stuff.
Yeah, so my profile was definitely not, boilerplate of what you would imagine for a UCLA admit, especially for CS. I had 316 on the GRE with the 154 on the verbal section and 162 on the quantitative section. I have 108 on the TOEFL, and my cumulative GPA was 8.7. And so so these are the basically all the stats. And other than that, in applications specific to UCLA and I guess UC Irvine, I made sure that, since I think these were the only ones that had an option of giving more than 3 LORs. So this is just an advice for people out there who are wondering what to do about LORs and stuff. I ended up submitting 5 instead of 3.
Oh,
And right, so instead so I made sure that I, in addition to professors with whom I did research, I made sure that I also reach out to those industry people, my managers basically, and try to just highlight a few soft skills as well, not only the technical aspect but a little bit of the soft skills as well,
right.
without overdoing it. So so that is something that I did, that was kind of like unique, like away from the average other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody gets three LR. So you got three from your professors. What about the other two?
Hmm. The other two were one was from my internship manager at SPJN, and the other one was from the other internship.
All right. How would you rate the application procedure from 1 to 10? How difficult was it for you?
Okay, so application procedure is, I guess it's well, if I'm being humble, I would give it like 8 to 9 any day. 8
8 to 9. What was the
any day.
most difficult thing you think? Was it the statement of purpose or visa process,
Um,
or what was it?
so I feel the toughest part about applying is, according to me, is SOP definitely. Other than that, it is, if you are a student, even if you are a working professional, this is just immaterial. You have to take out time for GRE, and you have to make sure that you're taking it out in a way that all those things are not just going out, right? Like it has to be in a very systematic fashion. And that to me is also kind of really, at least for me, it was really tough in the beginning because I never did something of this sort. So basically I was juggling between classes 5 days, and Saturday Sunday used to be GRE preparation days.
I
So
see.
right, so that is how it used to be. So basically the tricky part is time management, certainly. And other than that, SOP, definitely, because no matter how good you are at drafting documents, and how good you are with your verbal and stuff like that, you need to have a really nice thought process throughout the entire document. So everyone has different takes on it. I reached out to so many people for it, to give their experience, just to give two or three critiques about my document. And that is what makes it so tough, I feel.
Right, right. Yeah.
Same for LOAs, same for LOAs.
Right. Yeah. LOAs is, yeah, it's a definitely tricky part, which all professors you want to reach out to. And if you don't have enough, then it's a problem. If you have more than enough, then that's also a problem.
Yeah.
Uh, how did you choose your university and program? I know CS has a like the vast majority of information. The
Mhm.
most information
Yeah.
available is for computer science programs. How did you shortlist your universities and like shortlist your programs? I know you talked a little bit about the course structure, but give us a little more insights on your shortlisting procedure.
So, of course, my shortlisting procedure was based upon, so it was a combination of all those things which I mentioned, which is location, uh, course outcomes, and
Right.
finance. Okay, so I need to make sure something which is in the sweet spot of it has to be in a good location, perhaps vicinity to any good tech area. There are a lot of them, so now you can like narrow down a little bit more by perhaps going down on finances. And once you're done with finances, then I feel, well, finances and course structure, if you feel the course structure is really good, then I think finances can be like on the same level.
Oh,
Okay, depending upon, of course, your situation, your condition. So for me they were almost the same. I felt that if there is a course which is kind of giving you an option to delve into any field, any particular niche field, I did not want to go for data science ML right out of the box. So this is one advice I would perhaps give to people who are wondering, who are just still in the thought that, if I like ML, am I that person who is really, good in deep learning, and who should go into deep learning? Of course, it's an amazing field. It's an ever growing field, and it has a lot of opportunities. But the sad part is that people right now are beginning with ML, which is, I don't think, which is the way to go. So I feel I personally like to experiment with different electives, different subjects, different fields, and that is why I chose a course which gives me the opportunity to take courses from different areas and still
uh,
be done. Yeah, so something like that is what ticked all the boxes for me. So yeah, that is
right.
why I would not recommend people going into data science and niche fields.
Right. So, Rohan, like after this call, I forgot to mention this, but if you have any data sheets or documents which you use in your application, which you might think be useful for other students, I'll send you a Google Drive link and you can share that stuff with me, like documents or any education content or whatever it is, and I'll share it in the description here. You
Yeah.
also switched from IT to CS. How difficult was that?
Right.
And give
So,
me like as a construction guy, as a layman, tell me what's the difference between between IT and CS.
well, as a layman, I would explain that CS is more relying on like the theoretical aspects, the research aspects, right? The part where you indulge in a lot of mathematics and stuff like ML, and very intriguing stuff, at least for me, stuff which is really like in which you have to at least take a deep dive. And IT is more of I would say the application part as opposed to the research. It is more of the application part, more of the interacting with people part, more of you get to the production level code and stuff like that. That is what I would classify as IT, and the research part would be CS. So the choice is definitely up to the person if they wish to. I know that ASU has that option, and of course there are a lot of universities. I'm referring to ASU because I am applied to that university. So you can apply to any university in which you feel that the course is catering to you. For some professionals, I feel, who have spent 2 to 3 years in the field, for them I think IT would be a better choice. They would be more proficient, I feel, as compared to CS. And CS is for those people who wish to go into research and go, at least, like there are a lot of research labs out there, especially in UCLA, and of course the tech companies have that as well, Samsung and all those. So
Right. Right.
this is the basic difference. And yeah.
Yeah. I'm asking people to give like three tips, which you used during your undergrad, which you think were really useful, which you learned maybe through a book or a professor or another student, like, hey, this is a great best practice, which I should adapt. Any tips on that? Any tips, tricks, advices for undergrad students?
Right. So, okay, so I'll begin with the most important one, which is, according to me, it should not be utilized as a trick. It is like a must have, like, that kind of a mandatory thing to have, which is to interact with your professors. So I was kind of a reserved guy during my undergrad. I did not interact with professors much. And at least during the first year and perhaps half of the second year. So I
Uh-huh.
feel that shouldn't be there, and people should try to eliminate that, because when I eliminated that and tried to reach out to people, reach out to them and talk to them about research, that is when the doors opened related to new research projects and new uh, all those interesting stuff, basically.
Right.
So I feel that is one trick, that one thing that everyone should utilize. Reach out to your professors, look, and of course, if you see that they are doing work in fields which are your interest, then it is a no-brainer. Like, what could go wrong, right? And of course, it has the additional obvious benefit of them giving you an LOR. In addition to that, if you also feel that the research is good enough, you yourself can contribute to that. And research, according to me, is the most integral part during entire application process. If there is anything that the faculty committee, the reviewing committee, takes seriously, then that is research. If you have papers and under good professors who have nice, the paper has a nice H index and stuff like that, then you certainly get a lot of weightage. That is point one. Point two would be related to GRE prep, like try to not overdo it. People try to give a lot of importance. I've come across a lot of juniors who feel that GRE score is really integral. Of course, I feel that it is integral, but it is like a tick mark, and I feel it should not be treated more than as such. And once you feel that you have reached a point, people try to give it more than the required number of times and end up wasting time and money at the same time. So I feel that this can be eliminated. You should give a maximum of 2 months. 2 months of dedicated preparation, I feel, is more than enough to crack a good score, at least your best score. Unless, of course, there is a unplanned emergency that comes out of the way. Other than that, I feel, of course, that is the way to go. And the third would be perhaps try to find a place which is even like a cultural fit for you as well,
Right.
which has, other than the technical aspect, which you feel you would be comfortable at the place. And people kind of these factors are really underrated, I feel, because you're going to live in that place and most likely work there as well.
Right.
So why not choose a place which suits you, caters to your interests? So that would be tip, just an advice.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love it. How did you prepare for your MS? Were you already like looking at it that I have to do a master's after my undergrad? And did you do any projects during your undergrad? Or how did you prepare your profile for your master's application?
Right. So my profile. So I tried to, try to interact with my seniors. First of all, try to make friends with them and people who have like a similar, uh, similar liking as I do. and I tried to talk to them about the possible options, and what are they up to basically, you know.
Right.
And of course, after that, I reached out to people who were in the field and who are already like practicing these software dev and stuff like that. So after interacting with these people, I kind of made up my mind. Okay, and of course, that trip that I told in the beginning, that played a huge role. That was like the cultural introduction to me to the States. Once I
Uh-huh.
went there, and I interacted with him, and so I got to know a lot about the place, about the culture, about everything. So that's how I feel. My inclination was kind of made after like the second year, and after that, of course, I started preparing for GRE and stuff like that, and it kept on just going on and on and on, and yeah. After
Right.
second year, I feel after doing my internship, my first internship, I kind of got this inclination that I should probably pursue it a little further. And once I interacted with my contacts in the States, I that was like sealed. That thing was sealed.
Right. 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 I saw you did a bunch of internships. Tell us, give us insight or insider information on that. What all internships you did? How did that help you?
Right. So I did my first internship was with the SPJN Institute of Global Management in Mumbai,
Uh-huh.
and that was mostly a combination of a functional role combined with a backend engineer role, right? So I used to interact with the client, that was the people there, and I basically helped in setting this ERP suite called Oracle PeopleSoft Campus Solutions for them. And for that, there were some issues at the functional end and some in the dev section. So I was kind of like moving between the two of them. So I think that is when my technical inclination kind of capitalized, and I felt, okay, I'm more interested in that part than this part, sort of like that. And the second internship was related to IoT. I did my second internship in Jusco, which is a sub company of Tata Steel specifically. So well, that internship actually taught me about like my own city specifically, how the development is going on, and things that we kind of don't even look at,
Yeah.
like the sites and the composts and everything
Right.
that that is in place. So these were my two internships, and I feel the first one taught me something related to tech, and the second one, of course, I was doing interning and I was preparing for GRE. So this was the time while doing my second internship, I had GRE 1 month after,
I see.
right? So basically, the preparation and the internship were going simultaneously. So the second one also taught me a lot of time management. So
Yeah.
that is where I feel I learned a lot.
Right. 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 I see like right now, with COVID and well, at least Trump is not the president anymore. But were you not concerned about the job scene in the US?
Oh yeah, certainly I was, certainly, because as it's already obvious that I'm taking a student loan, and so the job really matters a lot, and not only the job, even I feel the scholarship aspects, the aspect of TAing, and the aspect of not having an internship, this at least the way it was intended,
Somewhere, yeah.
right? So that does create an impact. So yeah, I was concerned a lot. I reached out to my seniors, and I feel that they pointed me in the right direction, and they just the basic thing is that the competition for your favorable roles, the competition for the roles which you like, which caters to your interest, will always be there, COVID or no COVID. Of course, things have been difficult, but I feel by the time I graduate, which would be by the end of 2022, I think things would have become a lot better. Hopefully, at least
Yeah.
I feel good. And
I hope so too. Yeah, I think so. It will be much more calmer, and like a lot of companies have adapted the remote work. Facebook is hiring
yeah,
from everywhere. You can work for a year remotely. One of my friends got
mm,
hired in Austin. He's working for that chocolate company Hershey's, and they're like,
okay,
first year is going to be remote. And it's like, I don't care. My friends are here. He's getting paid more because they don't have to pay him relocation or everything. So, which is a good thing for him.
Mm.
I get
Yeah.
what you're saying. Did
Mm.
you get your visa yet?
Yeah, I'm done with my visa, thankfully. In this, at least for the visa, I feel I got a little lucky because people were having a really, really tough time finding the slots. And I would highly recommend the juniors and everyone who's viewing this video that you should reach out to your friends, reach out to everyone who's in the same boat. Make sure you guys are on like a WhatsApp group or any group of some kind. Just make sure that you're checking that website and as many times as possible without getting freezed, like the account just gets blocked after 3 attempts or something like that. So make sure
I've
that
heard.
you, right, so you're not getting blocked and get the slot. That is the best way I feel you can book a slot these times, during these
Right,
times.
right. I've heard from one of the students that they had a WhatsApp group where everybody was checking like every 10 minutes or so, and they would say like uh, the slots are available or not. And as soon as the slots got available, they tell other people, and that's how they get moves to their visa slots. So that's interesting. What are you doing currently? Are you working on a language? Are you learning something right now, or how are you preparing to jump onto jump into the classes?
Yeah, so I'm basically I do like part time. I'm doing a lot of these lead code and stuff like that. I'm working on my basic programming skills. I'm trying to get the basics cleared. That is what I would say, and I feel that is very integral. So that is what I'm actually doing these days. I've done my share of courses on Coursera. So I did that during the beginning of the lockdown, and now I'm more onto the fundamental aspect. And other than that, of course, I'm getting my finances sorted, which is a big thing.
Right.
I'm getting to like engage with all these loan guys, and making sure that the stuff is in place, and that I don't get backstabbed at the last moment.
True.
So right. And of course, I'm also sorting things related to my health insurance, which is also a big thing. So now that my classes would be online, now I need to opt for the waiver. UCLA luckily provides a health insurance waiver. I'm not sure all if all universities do that, but I think most of them do. Some of them do at least.
Because UCLA's health insurance is really expensive, right?
Oh yeah, certainly.
It's like 3,000 bucks or so.
No, not 3,000. It's 1,500.
Okay, per year.
1,500 per year. Yeah.
That's still not that bad, but I've heard some universities where it's like 3,000 or $2,500, which is a lot.
Yeah. So I felt that I could get, definitely while I'm in India, I can get cheaper options at least. So I made sure that I applied for that UC ship waiver, and yeah. So this is all I'm doing these days.
Okay, that's good. What are your future plans
Getting
like, man? What is your dream company? Tell us that. Like, where do you want to work? Do you want to work in like one of those fangs or uh, a startup? What does it look like for you?
So, I mean, if I'm being honest, I at this point of time, I really want some positivity, man. I've been working so hard for this process, and right now, beginning in this online mode, it's kind of really killing the mood for me. And as I already mentioned, my convocation was virtual, so I'm like officially the pandemic graduate and going into another another sort of a pandemic incoming pandemic freshman. So so I just want to get out of this on right at this point of time. If you ask me, I'm not even thinking about companies, Google and Facebook and stuff like that. I'm
Just
just
want to get
going to LA and just spending some peaceful time.
right.
Right, that is probably what I want most at this point. And hopefully I can work on my skills and get into a good enough company.
That's good, man. That's all you need. What is the one last advice you'd like to give to the students?
Well, so I will share a story, a short story, without boring anyone. So basically, what happens is when we apply and we are in this nail biting process, we kind of sometimes are in the we kind of lose patience. I feel people start losing patience, especially when I was getting reject after reject. So I got my first admit after I got all my rejects, right? So which is
Uh,
a which is not a good place to be in.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel, that many people start losing a lot of motivation. And what I did was that I kind of held on to my positivity and started replying to the university, just sending a mail asking them, hey, can you tell me what went wrong and how could I improve myself. And to my astonishment, one of them, literally, I'm referring to UC Irvine. One of them, I got a reject initially from UC Irvine. So once I sent this mail to them, they ended up, they said that, okay, so this is the shortcoming with you, but your profile is perfect for this course, which is basically a specialization in like embedded systems in CS. And we are really happy to offer you an admit in that. So, this was like, really a nice experience. I feel that people should not lose motivation. This is the only advice that I feel they should have, is that, even through hardships and stuff like that, you should try to, make friends with it, and
Yeah.
try to find positivity, and you definitely will land in a good
Also,
place.
you shouldn't hesitate to reach out to people.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
definitely.
that's a great advice we get from this experience.
Yeah, you should not take that thing as the final thing, right?
Right, 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 right. All right, Rohan, that's all I had. That's all the questions I had for you. Thanks a lot for doing this, man. All the very best for your semester at UCLA. And
Thanks a lot.
thanks for doing this. If you need my help, I'm right here. Just pick me on LinkedIn. Everything which Rohan is going to provide us, his LinkedIn profile will be in the description. Go check it out. And that's all. Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks a lot for having me, Parth.
Yeah.
Really been a fan since day one.
Thank you.